Hey, y'all. It's what the hell day is it? Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Hopefully, you guys can hear us okay because now I'm paranoid every single time because of the stupid settings on this bullshit. Also, I hope everyone's not confused because of the time change. It sprang forward last night. I don't know if most of you. I only knew because my computer, like, gave me a little notification. So I was kind of prepared for it, but I don't know if you guys were. So if we're at some weird time because of that, that's why. Looks good and sounds good, says Louie. Yeah, Louie, I'm glad you're here because you're the one that sent us this movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
I really liked
yeah.
this a lot. And you know what? This is how much of a dummy I am. This came out back in 2017, and I didn't realize, but this is the same writer-director that did Sicario and also Hell or High Water. It's almost kind of like they're not the same story, obviously, but they're kind of like a loose trilogy. I think it's called the Frontier Trilogy. So this is like the third one. Taylor Sheridan is the guy's name. So he wrote and directed Sicario and this one as well. So as I said, this came back out in 2017, and I hadn't heard of this one, which is crazy because it's really, really good. But in a way, I'm kind of glad that I hadn't heard about it because I think it's kind of better going into it not really knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's kind of like a police procedural kind of movie. Ends up being kind of like an action type movie in the latter half. It's based on a real case.
I think, well, from what I could determine, I don't know if it's based on a specific case or if it's based on an amalgam of cases.
Okay.
Because it does really seem like it kind of goes a lot into how murders and crimes are not really solved all that well, like when they happen on Native American reservations.
Yeah, because it's outside U.S. jurisdiction, so
they have to have the feds come in, and then
Right.
it's like, it's just kind of this clusterfuck. So I think that the story, like I said, it's sort of like it's a murder mystery, but then it kind of goes into sort of like an action movie toward the end, kind of in the sense that there's like a lot of gunfights and whatnot.
yeah. Another thing that I liked about it is it kind of goes it kind of lets people who don't really know much about the United States or people maybe up in the Northeast, they don't realize how remote some of these areas are.
Yeah.
And how you could be in a certain place where you can't get any police service. They might be hours away. The police backup is impossible. In other words, like if the police need help for them is like fucking hours and hours away. So in a way, this is kind of happening in an environment that's a lot like the Old West or in the frontiers. It's a lot like that.
Yeah, I mean,
and it still
definitely
exists.
is.
A lot of America's still like that. I mean, growing up in Mississippi, almost all of Mississippi was like that outside of a damn town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Heidelberg, Mississippi had 2 cops, one for the day, one for the night.
Yeah.
Everybody took care of themselves. But everybody knew each other.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, this is actually based on, or it's set in a real, as far as I know, is a real place, the Wind River Indian Reservation, which is in Wyoming. And it's kind of set in, now, didn't they say that it was like, I don't remember if they said it was summertime or August or something like that, but still everything was like, it's sort of like frozen and covered with snow. Because it's like way the fuck up. So like I said, everywhere they went, you had to go on, like a fucking ski thing or what the fuck do you call those things?
I don't know.
The snowcat, the snowmobile thing.
Yeah, snowmobiles.
And they had to kind of go through there. So the story behind this, though, is that this is really interesting because both Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen are in this, who were both Avengers, actually. Mm-hmm. It's Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch. But this is like a totally, totally different movie than that. So I guess Jeremy Renner, he plays, he's like a fish and wildlife guy. So his job is actually to track animals that are killing people's livestock. So at the beginning, there's like all these people's, livestock or sheep or whatever get killed, and they determine that there's like a mama lion and her 2 cubs, and that she's the one killing all of them. So he's kind of like looking for her so he can shoot the lion. And while he's out doing that, he finds a dead teenage girl. And the odd thing about it is that she's kind of frozen out there and she's barefoot but she's like 6 miles from the nearest thing. And they were just like, how the fuck did she get this far barefoot and, you know, only died like right here? You know what I mean? And so then you're trying to figure out, they can't figure out like the cause of death. And then it turns out that when they take her to the coroner, that they can tell that she has been raped multiple times. But he's like, I can't put homicide on the death certificate because it's a technicality, because like technically she didn't die from that. She died from running in fucking freezing cold temperatures, and the, you know, the alveoli or whatever in her lungs like essentially exploded and she drowned in her own blood. So it's like, so that was the cause of death. And he's like, I know that her being out there running and her getting raped and shit like that contributed to her death, but I can't put homicide on the death certificate because technically she didn't die from that. Technically she, you know, died because of the cold. So what happens with that is they send one lone FBI agent out there to check out what the fuck is going on. And if he doesn't put homicide on the death certificate, then they can't get any more backup. So basically the FBI agent, who's played by Elizabeth Olsen, she has to get the fish and wildlife guy, you know, to help her, because there's a lot of like tracking involved, like where, you know, where the girl came from, you know, why, you know, and tracking like other people's snowmobiles and shit like that to try and figure out who did this to her, who was chasing her. So they have to kind of work together with the one cop in town and like figure out what happened to this poor girl. And it's just, I mean, the way like the cinematography is gorgeous. I love the way that they kind of, everything is just white, and it's just this, like you said, you really, really get a sense of how remote this place is and how you're really kind of fucked and you're on your own, like when something like this happens. And it's just this really sad, like everybody that lives on this reservation is just kind of like used to it. They're just kind of like, yeah, well, nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's funny. Feds send this girl to investigate, and when she shows up to investigate, she didn't have a fucking damn jacket.
Yeah, well, because they sent her from Vegas.
Sent her to Vegas, yeah.
Just like, yeah, go check that out.
And it was summertime, so they figured, oh, well, you know, they didn't take into account that it's fucking frozen up there.
Right.
And these are all Arapaho Indians, I think.
I think they were, yeah. Because I think that's what the one...
It wasn't totally clear, but I think...
Well, I think they said when the victim's dad was talking, I think that said... Because I always put the closed captioning on because I'm deaf. But so I think that's what language he was speaking.
Yeah, I like the fact that they mentioned a lot of stuff about reservation life, you know what I mean? Like the cop told the one guy, oh, you could have had anything, you could have gone to the army. When I was in the army, you know, served with a lot of Native American guys that came from these reservations, and it's across the board, you know. Some of them have real nice houses, some of them are real rich because the reservation is now a damn casino, you know, and then some of them just don't have anything. They're just fucking burned out trailers and shit, you know. But in general, there's kind of a brain drain going on in a lot of those reservations. Anybody who's, you know, got potential leaves, they go to the army. They end up in service, actually, federal service of some sort. And so they're cool dudes, you know. Kind of the same with the islands too. A lot of Micronesians, a lot of Hawaiians and stuff, Samoans, and they kind of come from a similar situation, you know, trying to get off the island. They never go back. I keep in contact with them. Udasco, he's still here. He didn't go back to the islands. But yeah, it's just I like how they were just kind of true to the situation.
Yeah, it seems like this place is kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. It's like the only white people there are, you know,
people that kind of married in.
Yeah, Jeremy Renner's character, who actually was married to a native, to an indigenous woman, but then they got divorced. They have a son together, so he still lives there because he works for Fish and Wildlife. But other than that, it's just kind of like temporary workers, because I guess there was like, what was it, an oil refinery or some kind of, or oil drilling or something like that. So there was kind of like a camp where they had like all these trailers. There were some white dudes like working out there. But other than that, it's just kind of like this really, really small. And like you said, a lot of the people had left, and the ones that were kind of remaining there, they felt like, you know, this is out in the middle of nowhere. There are no opportunities for them and stuff like that. So all they do is kind of, you know, the brother of the girl that gets murdered is just kind of like a drug addict. You know, him and his friends just sit in this fucking burned out trailer and just do drugs all the time. Yeah. Because they don't have anything else to do.
The rest of them were farmers. You know, livestock farmers.
Yeah.
They were doing good. You know what I mean? They had nice houses and stuff. It's just, that life isn't for everybody. And you need a good
Yeah.
amount of money to start as a farmer too. You know, that money just doesn't come out of the ground. So, but yeah, it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I
A lot,
like.
of a lot of the reservations nowadays are damn casinos.
Well, yeah.
They got a casino on it, man. They make a shit ton of money. So,
Yeah, I think like here we have several reservations out in on the west coast of Florida, and they have like a lot of Seminole reservations and stuff, and they all have casinos on them.
Casinos,
And they do pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
But but this one, like I said, it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, so you have to do livestock. You can't really grow anything because it's fucking frozen all the time.
Yeah.
It's too cold. But I mean, just the acting in this was really really good. You know what my favorite? One of my favorite scenes in this was when. When they go to basically tell the dad of the victim that she's dead, and the FBI agent, Elizabeth Olsen's character, she kind of gets off on the wrong foot because she's like, well, why didn't you know where? Because at that point they thought that her boyfriend had killed her or whatever, because she was like dating a white dude, and so she was like, well, didn't you know the boyfriend's name, or didn't you know where she was? And they were like, she's 18. It's like, she does what she wants to do. And it's like, why are you so judgy and shit like that? So he was like real stoic and everything like that. But once she had left, like he went outside with the fish and wildlife guy, and just, you could hear him just like crying and like, just this agonizing kind of wail out there, like for sort of like that. But it was like a really, really good, like effective scene. I didn't realize, I haven't seen Jeremy Renner in a lot of stuff other than, like I said, the Avengers movies. But he's like really, really good in this. You know what I mean? He's like a really, really good actor. It's just funny there's two Avengers in this. I don't know why I thought that was so funny, because it's like a totally different kind of movie than that.
Seth says she's got to get her a 13 o'clock top, man. It said it looked good. All right, drop us a super chat. And I know you're in Australia. What's the shipping to Australia,
I don't know. It's usually not that different from UK, strangely.
Okay. All right, good.
Because I think I have shipped some stuff to Australia before, and it wasn't horribly expensive.
$20 super chat. I'll send you one of your choice. We even have girls cut tees, don't we?
Yeah.
We got any titty shirts?
I don't know. I have to look at my
call them that. Looking
back. The thing about it is that the sad thing is I don't think we have this design, like the Friday the 13th one. I don't think we have this screen anymore.
No, I don't have it screen anymore.
I mean, I could shoot another one if we had to, because I still have the design. But
I got this one.
We'd have to shoot another. Yeah, we'd have to shoot another screen if you wanted this particular one, because we threw it out like to do another one.
Yeah, I needed the frame.
Yeah, we need to do for Xanada, we need to do a Pliskin shirt.
Yeah.
I got to look through my stock and see.
I can burn that today.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I figured. It won't take that long to do. And I think I have that address someplace as well.
We got a large in stock.
Yeah, Sheila Ann says Taylor Sheridan acted on Sons of Anarchy. See, I didn't even know that either.
Yeah, I think that's right. I haven't seen. I got through a little bit of Sons of Anarchy. It started to get kind of repetitive.
Yeah, I think we watched like the first season or most of the first season, and I liked it, but I just didn't. I guess I don't know. I got distracted by something else, or
a little too PG for me.
Yeah,
the gangs weren't quite ruthless enough. They weren't doing what a lot of those gangs actually do.
Yeah, that's true. That's like I said, it was a long time ago that I watched it. I did like it, but I liked the characters.
We got done with
first season of
Spartacus, and man, that thing was so fucking good.
Yeah, I forgot how good that was.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to jump to season 3 where I left off, or go back to season 2, because season 2 actually is a flashback. Yeah, because isn't Batiatus in the second one, like it's kind of showing how he came. Yeah, that was good too, because I really like that character. Yeah, more Batiatus. But in 3,
remember as much of a shithead as he is.
By the time he went to fucking 2 and then 3, I'd forgotten what happened in 1. And forgot the names of all the damn characters, and some of the cast changed out.
Yeah.
Remember?
That's right. So that's the thing. It's like you really have to. It's probably better if you're gonna watch it, you just like watch them all at once, because you know what I mean. Louis was asking about Wind River. How realistic was the standoff scene? Remember that one scene where they were all like standing around like looking
pointing at each other? Yeah. Actually, I think that might have been pretty realistic, because really those guys didn't want to shoot each other. Yeah. If they wanted to shoot each other, it just would have went down.
That was.
They were trying to intimidate each other.
Yeah, a lot of people get killed in this one.
Yeah, something like that could happen.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like I said, I don't think from what I could determine that this was based, because it does say based on actual events, but I don't think it's based on a very specific crime as so much as it's based on several different ones that have happened in the area. Because I do feel like the thing they said at the end about Native American women being like the only demographic group that they don't they don't have that like as a category for murder victims, which I thought was very strange. I think we might have talked about it a little bit. If we didn't we do a show about the Highway of Tears, like up in Canada? I think it's
we did that.
Yeah, or something like that. It's a similar kind of thing going on up there where because of, and particularly in the US, like the way that the laws are and concerning reservations and whatnot, I feel like women on those reservations
they're more vulnerable.
They're a lot more vulnerable because of like fucking fucked up shit with the law, which like I said, this movie shows.
It would be like committing a crime on the boundary between two countries, and two countries that don't.
It's kind of like that,
and the two countries that maybe don't cooperate real well with each other, because a lot of those tribal police really wouldn't have the budget to do a whole bunch of investigation and or the equipment. So they'd be like, yeah, that girl disappeared. We don't know where she went.
Yeah, it happens
That's all
a lot.
It is.
And like I said, they illustrate that in this. It's like, the reservation has one cop. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he's just
he's got to do his daily duties and shit.
He's like, I don't really have anything.
Investigate for the next 10 years for what happened to some chick.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Whoever commits these kind of crimes knows the situation. Yeah. And they're like, in this area, I get away with it. And then maybe he might find out, well, I'm getting away with it in this area because there's only one cop. Yeah. And he doesn't have the ability or the time or the money, the budget to investigate this. So as long as I'm hunting in this area, I'm all right. And, this has to do with the treaties that happened between these Indian nations and the United States long, long time ago, So they want their independence. They don't want to give up their independence, so there's going to be an anomaly in the anomalies happening between the two systems. Now the feds have the ability to come in and do it.
Yeah, which is illustrated in this movie as well.
Yeah, but the thing is there's a difference between a missing person and a murder. If you never find the body, then it's just a missing person.
And as you saw in this movie, that it couldn't be considered a murder because
she didn't die from
that. She was raped many times, and obviously she was out in the cold running in bare feet and died because of the attack. Yeah. But she technically didn't die of that, so they couldn't get all the feds in there. They sent one person who was like woefully unprepared for the shit. Yeah, you know what I mean. So it really does kind of show And then, like, as it escalates and escalates, it's just really sad because, all these people get killed. It's like, justice is served, but it's like, it's just going to happen again. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, so it's almost kind of like what do they call that? A Pyrrhic victory or something like that, like at the end.
I was just talking to Saad. I was showing him some videos of, like, some shootings and stuff that happened here in the United States between the police and offenders. There's a real good YouTube channel called Police Activity that just shows all the body cam stuff. Real shootings you see, and you can see thousands and thousands of these shootings, and it's definite patterns to them. You can tell who's going to get shot, who's not going to get shot. And him being from Saudi Arabia, a totally different system, he's all horrified, and I'm just like, you don't understand the situation these cops are in, or you don't understand what it's like in these gigantic systems. It's like a damn machine running, and you're just. They'll if you attack the police with a knife, those cops are never going to go toe-to-toe with some dude and try to wrestle a knife out of his hand. That dude gets hurt on a job. It has to do with police unions, all kinds of insurance. If he gets stabbed, it's always the police's life is always paramount in this fucking situation. So they just shoot the dude, And you're like, oh, that's pretty hardcore. Well, if you start giving new orders to these cops, well, you got to get in there and wrestle this guy and take this knife away and get all cut up every day, because this happens a lot for these cops, then you're going to have cops quitting. The next thing you know, there is no police. And when there's no police, it just becomes basically militias and, lynch mobs and anarchy, what it was in the 1800s. Because the United States didn't always have police. You had local sheriffs in towns, but they weren't professional police force. They were kind of like mall cops, or a lot of times a sheriff in a town really was a retired bank robber or something like that. You know what I mean? The same guys that were robbing trains and robbing banks also were the cops. They just would move to another town and do another gig for a while. Matter of fact, some of the best lawmen in the Old West were actually ex-criminals, because once you did your time, you had the ability to become a cop afterwards. So they'd do a couple years in prison and then get out and become policemen, you know, because they had paid for their crime. Which I kind of like that system a little bit better. That way you don't have a criminal underclass fucking growing and growing and growing, you know. So everything has to do, when you're dealing with big systems like this, you're dealing with weird technicalities and weird legal disputes between jurisdictions, and really that's what this movie's about.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's really, and it's also like a really good, like really affecting murder mystery.
Yeah.
Like I said, with a lot of kind of brutal violence in it as well. So, and like I said, if you liked Sicario, it's a completely different story, but you would probably dig this one as well. And it's really weird because I just hadn't heard about this one, even though it came out back in 2017. But, you know, so I really appreciate Louis sending it as well. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention that Nick Cave and Warren Ellis did the score for this too.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize until I looked it up. Because I really liked the score of it, and then I was just kind of like, oh, that's probably why.
Did he do the second Sicario also?
I'm not really sure. I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
Him and Warren Ellis have done like a shit ton of movie scores.
I think the second Sicario was a little bit better than the first one.
See, you watched them without me.
Okay, yeah, they're good.
I haven't
They're
got
like this,
so I
kinda.
haven't got to see them.
The first Sicario was more about like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you guys haven't seen the Sicario series, want to see that also. That's dealing with very similar to this movie, but it has to do with the Mexican border and the weird shit that's happening between federal agencies and the Mexican agencies, federal American agencies and Mexican agencies, and the cartels, and the weird grayness between the two, where you got guys that are basically cartel assassins that work for the federal government, which that's true.
And like I said, now we have to see Hell or High Water, which is the second one, like before this one was after Sicario, but it was like before this one, which is also a different story, but like a similar theme, I guess. But yeah, so Jones Perkins said, I saw this movie when it first came out. I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah, it's just like I went back and watched a lot of contemporary YouTubers that had reviewed it, and it got like, you know, really, really good reviews across the board. And a lot of people said that they didn't really know what to expect, but it ended up being like way, way better than they thought it was going to be. But yeah, it's like a really great, like I said, murder mystery, and then kind of goes into you know, kind of like I don't know if I'd call it an action movie, but it does kind of have that kind of like a lot of violence in it toward the end. And I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna really spoil the ending, but that one end scene with Jeremy Renner and that one guy, we're just like, that was really, really good. It was like really, really satisfying. So I will say that. But yeah, so thanks again, Louis, for sending us that, because I don't think I would have seen it otherwise, or I wouldn't have got around to it for a really long time. So you have anything else you would like to add?
Saad saying, I didn't say wrestle him, I said tase him. And I said, fucking that taser ain't shit, man. Fucking, I'll send you other videos. The guy got tased 6 times just pulling the damn fucking things out. Once you're amped up, if you're amped up and fucking emotionally volatile, that fucking taser ain't shit.
Also, if you're hopped up on something or other.
If you're hopped up on something, taser's nothing. They know who they can tase and they can't tase. You're a pussy, they gonna tase you. If you're fucking raged out on a bunch of drugs or you're just crazy, they're not gonna tase you. I'll send you some shit, fucking Saad. You'll see one dude fucking ran through about 3 tasers, just pulled him out, and then kept running at him with a knife in full view. They just lit him up, just cut him to shreds. They're real tough until them bullets start hitting them. I don't understand it. They're insane. They don't think that they can be hurt. They kind of go kamikaze.
Yeah, that's probably.
And they're saying, "Shoot me, motherfucker, shoot me."
Okay.
And then you get shot. And then,
why'd you shoot me?
Yeah, well, yeah. Then you start begging. Why'd you do that?
Why'd you shoot?
Yeah, they don't make.
You told me to.
Yeah, they don't make any sense. They don't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Louis says it's a neo-Western. Yes, that is what they call this genre, where it's kind of like structured like a Western, but it's not necessarily like.
Yeah, well, I kind of said that when I said it's like a frontier. It's like a frontier story.
Yeah, and like I said, I think they call this Sicario Hell or High Water, and Wind River they call it the Frontier Trilogy.
Yeah, and another thing that they did was towards the very end, the one wildlife guy, he kind of took care of justice the old school way.
That's the scene I was talking about.
Yeah, he didn't kill him. He let the elements kill him. And that's all it took.
And it was also like poetic justice.
Yeah.
So I was kind of into that. And I was just kind of like, yeah, I like the way, I like your style. Yeah. You know what I mean? But yeah, so we will be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Like I said, some people, I think Sess was in Australia and was like, did you guys start earlier? Yeah, it's daylight savings time. That started today. So that's why. I don't know like who does daylight savings time and who doesn't around the world. Because I know some countries do and some countries don't fuck with it. I wish we wouldn't fuck with it. It just seems retarded, but you know what I mean? What are you going to do? I can't.
It's from another era.
It is. It's just
back when you had to plant shit.
It's like, bitch, we're not farmers anymore. We don't need this shit.
They got robots farming.
It's just a pain in the ass. And it's like now my sleep schedule's all messed up and all this other kind of shit, but whatever.
Even the migrant workers are like, man, stop building fucking robots.
Yeah. But so probably tomorrow we will do I think they just added a new Shudder original called Stay Out of the Fucking Attic. And we watched that last night, so we'll probably talk about that a little bit tomorrow. Louis says you guys in Florida have 2 time zones. I don't. Oh yeah, I guess we do, because I guess the little bit of the panhandle is in the other time zone. What's the next one? Central time?
They're in party time.
Yeah, I guess so. But most of Florida is Eastern Standard Time. I think just a little bit of the panhandle is in the next time zone. But yeah. Seth says we do daylight savings, but in a month's time. I also hate it. Yeah, it's just done. It seems pointless in this day and age.
Seth is down there in Australia, man. That's where everything kills you.
Yeah.
Even the ants kill you. They got them prehistoric ants that only kind of act like ants. What are they called? Bullet ants?
Oh, I know that there's some ants called that, but I don't know if those are the ones that you're talking about.
Cross between an ant and a wasp. They're in a colony, but they fight each other. Even the ants are uncivilized. Yeah. You never heard them?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
I was like, man, that shit would only exist in Australia. Some badass primitive shit.
Australia seems fun. I've always kind of wanted to go there.
Everything kills you there.
Pretty much.
Everything's fucking poisonous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or venomous, or what, or it'll just eat you.
Yeah.
Oh, poisonous and venomous are 2 different.
Oh, see, she wants to get technical. Fucking Spock, man.
I'm sorry, I'm just saying, because not to be pedantic, it's 2 different things. All right, so we will be back tomorrow talking about some more horror movies. So thanks everybody for dropping by on this lazy Sunday. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.